Tap in, tap in. We live, we live. Hit that like button. We finna just shoot the breeze. Shout out to the Coliseum of Arguments. If you ain't tapped in, you lacking. Share some.
You just gonna starve because you're gonna have an attitude.
What's going on, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? What y'all up to tonight?
Yeah, man, posted up Friday night going into Saturday getting ready for this debate with Jesse, man. What's up, Emmanuel? What's good, God?
Man, you already know, same thing. I'm looking for anybody that's gonna run up in this ring that we be having
Hey.
called the Coliseum, called the Gauntlet. Niggas always in the comments, niggas always in the back chat, niggas always sounding great. When we
That's a
gonna get
fact.
on the front line, fellas? When we, you know what I mean, putting the gloves on.
Hey, and
Call
then what's
Auburn
crazy is
Hey,
tight.
I'm calling niggas out by name. This episode is sponsored by Cutwater. I
Let's
called out
go.
King J. I called out King J. I called out Yaya. I called out This just in the past week and a half. I done had three niggas run.
but look
I
though,
told Yaya
you
came at me. I said, look, bro, whatever topic you want to debate. He came at me with a topic. I said, all right, pick a side. I'll be the affirmative ordinator just to show you what this debating shit is really about. Oh man, give me a couple weeks. I got a debate on paradigm shift. We don't do no other priorities when you the one come and step and talk shit. That's priority. Yo, the shit that you talking currently is supposed to be your priority, not your debate 2 3 weeks from now. King J,
Facts.
he just disappeared. Then they went from he was sucking on the lollipop live a week and a half ago, and now he's gone. No, nobody heard from him since. Y'all can go back on. Y'all can go back on the page. Courtney was live a couple nights ago, and King J jumped on his panel just talking shit. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of niggas talking shit. I'm finna go challenge the nigga. So I jumped on the panel, challenged him to two topics. Nothing. Um, Hate to call you out publicly. You my dog, but it is what it is. I done asked you if you want to debate this evolution shit about 2 3 times, because everybody be listening to you for this science shit. And you be
hmm
posting it and talking it Darwin's theory, Darwin's theory. So I want to debate whether or not it has holes. Because either you gonna debate that it don't got holes, or you gonna go ahead and tell your students about the holes that it do got. It's gonna be one or the other. I'm tired of niggas popping it and thinking because Emmanuel ain't dropping sources, I won't get on your ass. I don't waste sources for this back chat. That's what it is. And anybody that know me for real know that. And you can go check out my last debate, Title Debate League Coliseum page. Go look for Emmanuel versus How Am I On. We had a face off, murdered him in the face off. Ended up telling him, pick the topic, whether you want to be the affirmative or the negative, same thing. Ice from 16th seed. He was the number one seed, quote unquote, undefeated, 16-0, whatever, all that. That shit don't excite me. Put my presentation together in a couple days, 10 to 15 slides, and I'm a murder. That's just what I do. I got a couple mini presentations that can be maximized a little bit more. So I be ready for a lot of shit. We can always talk in the back chat, but I really be ready to squabble. You got you got about 2 times to bring up a topic and like you confident enough, and I'm gonna say, okay, yeah, let's just debate it. And then that's when you really see who's confident. You could sound confident, but how confident are you for real? That shit's safe in your head. But I'm done. It's confessions, man. We confessing right now. I'm tired, chat. I'm
did you check
tired,
out? Did you
chat.
check out the? Did you check out the hydrogen? Tell the truth.
You said it. Okay, see, I thought you was trolling. What's the hypergym? I
But
thought you
I'm
was
gonna whoop
asking me.
everybody ass that look like you. You telling me
I
you didn't check out the Hyper Gym, bro?
Nah, I missed it. No. I was in. No, okay. You asking when am I coming to that show? Okay,
Oh
I
no,
thought it
yeah,
was
you was
called.
in the chat. You was in the chat. You was in the chat.
Okay,
Okay.
I thought the title of it was something else. So when you said something about a hyper gym, I thought you was like trolling, like nigga, when you gonna lose the debate? Type shit. When you gonna get this murder?
Oh no.
That's why I say shit. I ain't losing no debates no time soon. But as far as the hypo gym shit, we got a big weekend. I'm ready whenever though. It's always gonna be better. The later is always gonna be the better for me. I'm
So
a
what
night
did you
owl.
think
I'll
about
be working in the daytime.
what do you think about when she asked me who would I like to see in the finals?
I missed that question. Who did you say?
Man, I'm gonna whoop everybody that look like you ass. I'm gonna whoop motherfucker Trey Songs. I'm gonna whoop motherfucker.
I was in that bit for a good little while. I don't know how I missed that question. Who you say? Don't
I
worry about
said
it. Don't spoil it. I'm
Emmanuel.
gonna go back and watch. Make me go
I,
back and watch.
I said Emmanuel.
Man, shout out to you guys. You already know, man. Highly respected opponent that I haven't faced yet, but I've seen him on opposing ends, and this brother is he lit for the sport, and that's where I'm at with it. Like niggas always grew up. I don't know if y'all grew up like I grew up. Niggas grew up playing sports, and niggas always talking shit. Nigga, let's go outside right now. You really think you can hoop like that? Let's go outside. I don't give a fuck how flat the basketball is. Let's go. Let's see what it is.
You
Like
don't know
real
about that
life.
flat basketball, my nigga.
like, like real life.
What's up, cut
Acting
'em
like
up, Court?
Peace to the channel, peace to the
what's good,
panel.
Corey? What's good? What's
What
good?
it do, what it do?
Already.
Man,
Manuel
peace
said,
to
I
your
don't
favorite
care how
scholar,
flat the
scholar.
ball is.
He said he
Period.
still
For
gonna
real,
kick
man.
it. What you talking about?
Man, you one of the brothers who will stand 10 toes on yours, so it's definitely not directed at you, bro. But it's a lot of niggas who be like low key running. Naga, them niggas stand on their square 10 toes. Court, you stand on your square 10 toes. I done seen a lot of niggas that's scared to lose debates, man. It ain't nothing. It's easy for me to say because I ain't lost a debate, but shit, I ain't scared to lose that motherfucker either. Eh, Uh, this nigga named James Witherspoon. That's pops, ain't it? You win some, you lose
John.
some.
John with the phone.
Oh, John Witherspoon.
You took James from
Hey.
Good Times and John Witherspoon and made James Witherspoon.
Fuck no.
And that's
Hey,
hard
you
though.
win. At the end of the day, you win some, you lose some, but you
Mm-hmm.
live to fight another day, man.
Period. Shout out to Cutwater.
That
So
that's how
raw.
you that's how you know who live their real life on the internet and who don't. You scared to lose on the internet, nigga?
Hell
You
no.
taking this shit too serious, man.
Crazy.
You got any debates coming up, Emmanuel?
Uh-oh.
Man, me and Apollo will be facing off either tomorrow or Sunday. I know tomorrow is a busy day. I don't know if we got a confirmation for a time from Apollo yet. Like I say, I'm pretty much gonna be open anytime after about 6, 7 Eastern. 5 is
Mm.
gonna be kind of early. I know we got a debate tomorrow. I believe Swab Boss versus Jesse at like 8 Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. So between Saturday and Sunday, I'm sure we could put something together. Apollo was kind of open this weekend, but we're just waiting on some confirmations. That's my brother. We're gonna get us a face off going. Like I say, I hated to have to be my brother, but bro, I've been ready to debate since my last debate. So I got tired of working for a couple weeks. Me and Suave had to postpone, but I really want. I don't feel like niggas deserve me and Suave yet. I'ma just keep it a book. Somebody somebody else need to jump out there. This is some grand finale type shit. Like we gonna break the internet. So I need, you know what I'm saying? Let's get some more content going.
Try to
Y'all just
tell
want to
you.
get straight to the championship. Like that's how nigga feel. They just want the championship now.
That's a fact. That's a fact. There, and
And
then
he
what's
came in this
crazy?
bitch gun blazing.
Smoking. Apollo was just in the back chat too, and he's your next competitor, but he ain't hit the link. Let me see if I can coax him.
That would be fire.
Tell him we got some Jesse juice over here. You can get some of that apricot beef.
You better
Jesse
have
Juice is
$12.
insane.
And when that motherfucker said that shit was $12, I said, nigga, I get a 6 pack of goddamn Dr. Pepper for 9.
Oh
God
shit.
damn.
The way he showed how he
I mean
squeezed
a
the
12 pack,
juice.
a 12 case of Dr. Pepper for $9. You think you gonna sell me 1.4 ounces of feet beat?
Beat feet. Damn, Jesse. Don't do Jesse. I sure dropped him the damn link too. I dropped him the link a few times. Like, oh my God. And matter of fact, he finna get a call. Just get your butt over. It's 10 so my time. It's 11 y'all. Ain't nobody sleep. Get y'all butt up in here right. Courtney, what you got coming up?
Uh, because I had a little operation this week, I'm gonna get back to my weekly show over here on the platform Monday, and I don't got no debates coming up because I told Suave after I heard his last alleged debate setup, uh, I would have gave him a warning. Don't do it. But yeah, I was supposed to have a debate after the Silky debate with Yaya, but that fell through. So I ain't got nothing lined up right now.
Man, y'all think I'm playing. I was trying to call this thing. Get on
Yeah.
this. Oh my God, that would have made my life. I swear. The way he showed how he do the juice squeeze. Like, yeah, I gotta get some talent, bro. I don't know. Y'all don't got nothing y'all want to share? Share screen, share clips, anything. It's just an open pen. We just wait for more people to join and shoot the breeze. I mean, the Mayweather, you can keep calling motherfuckers out. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I'm calling on everybody but the Lord, man. What are we doing right now? Hey,
Straight the fuck up.
I got something interesting that can hold us over for a couple minutes. Let me see. Shekmet, where you from?
I'm from St. Louis.
Okay, bet. Who got screen sharing access right now, dude? Swallow, you got screen sharing access?
Nah, I'll be okay, so I don't know how he did it, but he gotta pop up and I have to add it to stage. So I don't know if he right there to tell you how, but if you pop it up there, I can share it up there for you.
I can open up my laptop. It just be laggy for like the first couple minutes when I open it up. I just wanna put the people down with some shit, man. Anybody who got, relatives and ancestry and genealogy, couple generations up, I would say, anywhere from like 5 to 8 generations from probably about, I would say Louisiana, St. Louis, up through the Midwest, grazing Indiana, Chicago area, all the way up the East Coast as well. Looking into that Mississippian theory, bro, because a lot of our people, we be conflicting about who came from Africa and who was Native Americans and who was these people that was here when Columbus, quote unquote, founded whatever he claimed to found. And I be asking a lot of people, do they know anything about the Mississippian theory? And a lot of people are ignorant to it, and there's nothing wrong with it because I was as well just until a few years back. And I learned that pretty much it was a whole multiple groups, not just one group of people, and they pretty much got a history that's not erased, but they have a history that's there and that's just dropped. It's like uh blackballed. It's put on the back burner. It's a lot of history that's there for you to go find, but if you don't hear anybody talking about it, you'll never go look it up. And then when you hear Mississippian, you're automatically gonna think the modern state of Mississippi. Well,
Mm.
the region and civilization of the Mississippian people was way larger than it is now. Like I say, just to give you an example, they have maps that give you a sectioned off region that's like pretty much from the south to the east coast, that whole eastern side of the map. And for some reason, a lot of our people attest to having ancestry from there, even that live far up north in the Midwest and even the West Coast. Like you ask a lot of people on the West Coast, black people, you know what I'm saying? Hey, where your great grandma from, or where your great great grandma from? And it's always gonna be Louisiana, St. Louis, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. Like for some reason, it always comes back down to this area.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people, they go with the mainstream, oh, transatlantic slave trade. They was pulling up to the coast. Like, yeah, that's cool and that sound good, but what about all the colonization that was going on before the transatlantic slave trade in the North America? Because the transatlantic slave trade was going on in many places before it even reached North America. So what about the people who was occupying the land at that time? And that's why I say it to me the agenda is clear that somebody said, you know what, we don't have enough evidence to try and be saying who these people are specifically and identifying them and separating them by tribes, etc. But they're not our people anyway. We got a new world order going on. Let's go here moving forward. And that's where you get certain declarations. That's where you get certain constitutions coming into play. That's where you get a lot of colonization. And then you get, of course, slavery to go along with it. So I kind of think, like I was telling Brother Asan in the back chat earlier, we go way further back than we should a lot of times trying to say, well, I want to know who I am. I want to know where we come from. And then you get people reaching back thousands of years ago and motherfuckers like, oh, we these Native Americans, we the Egyptians, we the Africans, we the Canaanites, we the Israelites, we the Moabites. Like I've literally heard it all. And these are, you know, ancient nationalities that in a sense don't have a lot of grasp outside of the Bible and then certain verbal history that was passed down from a few tribes. So it's like, why not go with the tangible things that we can go with? All of us had stories from our grandparents of where we were from. And then, like I say, if a lot of these stories are putting us in the same location in North America, let's study the people that was here in this time when Columbus, quote unquote, is supposed to have founded the place. And when you look at the people who were supposed to be here and thriving with civilizations and priesthoods and building pyramids and mounds and building altars, following certain dietary laws that were, established in documents previously, like the Quran, the Bible, etc. It lets you know that there was clearly some organization and civilization with these people group. So why is it so shunned in the only thing that you get, in a mainstream teaching of America is Columbus moving forward? And that's where the green flags came through for me. Like it was like, oh shit, I think I might have found something that we can reach back to that's a little more tangible than trying to say I'm an Egyptian or I come from Abraham or I come from X, Y, and Z. And anybody that know me know I claim to be a Hebrew Israelite that believes that Christ was the Messiah. So I have my own faith base, But my thing is outside of the faith base, let's try and get something tangible that can bring us some unity. Because with faith being as subjective as it is, we'll never have unity trying to be on one accord with faith. It's just not gonna work like that. So when you looking at the person next to you and you like, oh, okay, Black Power, because you look like me, if we don't share the same faith, that's causing separation. This has been going on since Columbus. Like, of course, since before then, but even before then, we didn't have infiltration and we didn't have people dwelling amongst us that could, I guess, give us an influence to separate even more. So that's where, one of my theories and understandings, as well as a theory that what colonization even came about for. Like, what do you want to separate these people from each other so bad for, let alone separating them from you? And that's a big part I think people miss as well dealing with colonization is it was certain groups of black people that was being separated from each other. They was literally calling people Negroes if you were a certain color, and if you didn't fit that color bracket, you just weren't being called anything. Y'all were separated. And then same thing with Native Americans. So it's like, what you do with the people that didn't make the cut? Like, what are we calling these people groups, or what were these people groups before somebody started calling them something different or calling them this English word? What about the languages that are centuries older than English? Like, what are these people called then? And like I say, when you when you go outside of what a people is called and just deal with the region and deal with the timeline, a lot of us that are in the Americas today can say, okay, yeah, these are where my people were from. So outside of a name, if you got a lot of your people being from the same area and looking alike, I think that's where you can get your tangibility from versus trying to say, oh yeah, they look alike, but they was a separate tribe because this brother is claiming Moab from his understanding from a teacher just about 100 years ago or a little younger. Like that's a lot of separation. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Noble Drew Ali and like the Circle Seven dealing with the Moors and the Quran and things like that. But you got a lot of brothers that look just like me that don't share beliefs and won't dwell with a nigga, congregate with a nigga, get no money, build nothing just because we don't share faith. And it's like, man, what if, you know what I'm saying? What if you're literally my cousin? We got both our great grandparents come from the same place, but you like, nah, my folks came over here at a different time period. I could feel it in my spirit. They was Moors. It's like, bro, that shit is gonna kill us the more we keep. When I say kill us, I mean the separation, figuratively, before
Mm-hmm.
literally. As long as we keep, finding separation with this faith, other than the things that's tangible, like where we are, what we look like just the faith base. I mean, not faith base, just the feel base, the shit we can
Absolutely.
feel, because that's what makes things tangible. So if you can't see it with your naked eyes, or you can't uh, give any proof of the history, then it's like, what? Why are we going off of that? But what about everything that we can give proof of? So I can say, hey, so I'll try and figure out where your people from 4 generations up. So that's like, your great
Mississippi.
grandmother is 2 generations up. So if you know who your great grandmother's great grandmother is or where she was from, that's to me that's valid tangibility to try and say this is where I come from. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
for majority of the people that we congregate with in these back chats and run into at work and our neighbors, etc., say, oh yeah, my people is from Georgia. Oh yeah, my people is from Florida. Oh yeah, my people from South Carolina. Oh yeah, my people from Mississippi. And then you got people in all these states that will say, oh yeah, but they was all the way back and forth from St. Louis. Oh yeah, they was all the way back and forth from Chicago. Everybody know about the Memphis Chicago pipeline. Everybody know about that. And it's like that shit goes back literally centuries. So if it goes back centuries, and we saying that our people have been using this pipeline ever since we can remember, why won't we give the credit to, okay, let's keep up with this pipeline. Let's keep up with the people that was actually building these mounds. Is it called? It's a mound somewhere in St. Louis called like Sugar Hill Mound or something like that. You know what I'm talking about, Shekmet?
No, I ain't never heard of it. That's crazy.
Sugar Hill Mound.
It's called
Um,
Sugar something, if I'm not mistaken. I'll find it in just a second. I'm gonna look on my other phone. But
Sugar Bush.
when you look into the history of that mountain or that mound, they'll tell you that that's one of the last evidences of the Mississippians in St. Louis. And it's like, okay, well, who are these people? If I could find these people, these same group of people being documented making mounds in Georgia, making mounds in Mississippi, making mounds all the way up in St. Louis, Tennessee, Carolinas, etc. Why ain't nobody talking about who built these mounds? Everybody want to talk about the pyramids and the Egyptians, etc. Cool. But what about the people that was building mounds where your grandma is from in North America? You see what I'm saying? So I ain't the nigga that's trying to make everybody Mississippians. That's not my thing by far. My thing is once we realize it's a whole history of a people
it's
in the
called the
areas
Sugar
where
Loaf.
we are today. You said
It's
what?
called Sugar Loaf.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So have you and you were you familiar with that before I just brought it up?
Not that actual amount. I don't know by names, but I know where they're located. So when I actually pulled it up, I know exactly where it's at.
So don't you find it like interesting that we can have history and ties to this right here where you from? Because one of the things that I've looked into about these sites is they were considered holy places for a long period of time. Some
Mm.
of them up until like the late 1800s, early 1900s, and then they just became I guess I can't think of what you call it, but basically like a tourist site.
Historical
That's
sites, yeah, national parks,
Landmarks.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
landmarks,
yeah,
national parks and shit.
yeah. So it's like, hold on, you literally nigga, you done gated off my ancestors' land from me. So now it's barbed wire, and I gotta look at this shit from 50 feet away. And I can walk up to some mounds, but it's specific mounds that nah, you can't even walk up them. You can't touch them. Don't step foot on there. But this my people shit. That now that's crazy.
Are you
Mm-hmm.
trying to advocate y'all in some sense, abos?
I don't even necessarily say abos because of the time frame. Um, I believe it's a wide timeline. Some go from like 800 CE to like 15 to 1600 CE, tracking the Mississippians. So what I say is I don't necessarily say Abo, but that's a large time span for people to have been doing the same thing Columbus was doing before him, especially if he's not attributed to being the actual sailor. You see what I'm saying? So the same people that was selling him wherever they were selling him, well, I'm saying sailing like SAIL, wherever they were sailing Columbus, they could have been sailing multiple other niggas before him. Or somebody that was sailing him already knew how to do this. Like their people knew this, so it wasn't a secret.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not all the way convinced that Columbus was the first nigga that just decided to go discover and go in the direction that he went, and it was as recent as a time as it was. I just can't believe that. That you talking about? Well, this Earth has been as big. It's been as big as it is for as long as we know as mankind. And you telling me just a few hundred years ago, some
That's
niggas
what I'll be
sailed to the
saying. Like we've been
yeah.
modern humans for 300,000 years, but Come on. We had
That's why I say,
300,000 years on Earth as a modern human, but never fucking crossed the Atlantic.
yeah. So my understanding is that certain abo positions, just from my observations, because that's one like doctrine I can't really figure out exactly their claims and positions. But from my perspective, they're only saying that it was niggas here before Columbus. They're not all literally saying, oh, well, after the flood, once dry land appeared again, niggas was already in on their own plate. You see what I'm saying? In a sense, that's really what they should be trying to portray with their position. If they saying everybody not African, some niggas was originated in America. Cool. Then you got to talk about no migration. Them motherfuckers were originated in America. You see what I'm saying? But if that's not your claim, then like I say, you're more so just saying it was niggas in America before Columbus, and you claiming Abo because them niggas agree with that. That makes sense,
Yeah.
Court.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out because, like, I don't got no problem with some of what you're saying at all. I do have my own suspicions about how people got over here before the Columbus and Magellan and all of that good stuff, but it's 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 tough to demonstrate because there's a lack of literary evidence. There's a lack of literature about this. Um,
So if I hate to cut your wisdom real quick, but I kind of briefly touched on that earlier. It's not a lack of evidence, it's a lack of proving that all this evidence is one people group to try and identify them. So that's why I say it's, to me, it was like, okay, in a sense, you ain't even got to think of the colonizer being malicious. Like let's just take that all the way out. But he came over here and clearly seen it was different types of niggas. It was like, man, hold up. I'm trying to start some whole new shit anyway. Fuck trying to identify these niggas by tribes and trying to say who was holy because they was being circumcised and all that. Fuck that. Let's worry about the new shit. But it's plenty of evidence that's there. You see what I'm saying? But trying to have enough proof to specify these people by a certain people group and by a tribal name, that's where the lacking is. And that's why I say, to me, that's where the agenda is clear. Because the only thing that you're lacking is a name of these people as a whole, besides Mississippians, because this is was their region, or if one would say.
right. No, I mean, I get the gist of what you're saying. It's, again, it's the lack of literature. So whatever these communities and people groups were, they weren't really literature people, which makes some of the connections complicated. And not saying that there are no connections. I'm just like, for example, with my family, we've had these semi-personal conversations already, but
Mm-hmm.
like my family from Mississippi, my people from Terry, Mississippi, and they still got property and land and all of that stuff out there right now. Like, and they got their own understanding of cultural memory of origin and how they came about. Now, whole time, my people, we definitely link ourselves to the Barnetts that were also out there. So the Barnett family was the slave master's family. But I also got other family members like, so my middle name is Alonzo, and my middle name is from my great grandfather, who got his name from his great grandfather, who allegedly was some type of Native American. So, like,
Mm-hmm. No
in
problem.
that sense, cool. I ain't got no problems because I agree, not everybody was treated like a slave. Everybody wasn't a slave that was over here. But, it's just, it's a lot in a short period of time once They bring us from Africa over here that quickly got on the ball. And while you were explaining it, it's so crazy because I was thinking more or less, that the NOI story of Jacob, the brainy scientist. It made me think of that because some of the things in that narrative I actually see more or less being applied to white people once they get over here by mixing, inbreeding, and seeing the divergences mix and culture expand and people expand, people groups expand, while other colors, especially colors, dwindle. And now you got a different type of mixture of colors going on. So it's it's crazy the way you put it out there because for some reason that's where my mind went. But I ain't really got that many issues with what you're saying just because I know some of my own family history with these, uh, not being disrespectful to my people, but with the wise tales of these traditions, these cultures, these ancient people that was here already, being part of my own, being part of me. You feel me? So like there's a reality behind it. I just don't know how to go. Like, even if I had all the paperwork on slave trades and all the newspapers and all the clippings and all of that stuff of what was going on in Mississippi, I don't know if I would, without good DNA evidence, I wouldn't really be able to do a lot of that stuff. And then it also, especially thinking of DNA, a lot of people don't know this, but just recently found out, maybe in the last 2 weeks, there's a couple of native tribes that had heavily saturated malaria in their blood. And we know where that comes from. That's coming straight out of Africa and things like that. So how did people with malaria, end up in America before Columbus? Because we just don't have their literary traditions explaining it. We don't really even get good oral traditions of these ancient communities passing down that tradition on how they got here. So
It's funny that you say that because I was literally about to ask you, or not ask you, say pretty much the question that I give myself when I come across something that's considered pseudo. And I don't have a problem with people calling certain ideologies pseudo that I have, because when you understand what pseudo actually is and what it means, it's only one question once something is considered pseudo, and that's why is it not considered mainstream? So anytime I come across something that's considered pseudo, just like the Mississippian theory, it's like, hold on, okay, why is it not mainstream? Why is this history not just as prominent as the history of the Moors if they have an abundance of evidence of a people group being in this area? It's because you have specific identities that you can grasp with the Moors and the Berbers and the Libyans and the Nubians. It's an abundance of history in North Africa and going into Europe, keeping up with it along the way. But like you say, if the people that were in the North Americas at the time, or in the Americas at the time, North America specifically, uh weren't really people of literature, then that would mean it wouldn't be a whole lot of documentation, especially people dwelling amongst them that would have been documenting their lives. Because one of my theories and understandings of, where we even get this modern Bible from is it was a people group that literally started studying the Jews and their history, and they started to try and give their understanding in their language. So I'm totally following where you saying it's a lack of literature, and that's where the problem comes in at. But to me, it's like, okay, I'm cool with that understanding because I know where the problem comes in at. You see what I'm saying? So if you just calling me pseudo or some shit I come up with pseudo, and I can't even tell you why it's considered pseudo, then it's a problem. But if I can tell you an abundance of evidence and traditions that line up to all these people being the same people that your great grandmother would call their great grandmother, then what do we do about that? You just gonna still call me pseudo because the lack of mainstream evidence that you've been given?
Right.
Because then it's like who's setting the bar and standard of what's mainstream? That's when that question comes into play. And like I say, with those two questions, I pretty much be settled in certain areas once I have a certain amount of information. But I'm landing.
No, I can dig that. Like, see, one of my problems with dealing with the DNA test, for example, is the issue of ghost ancestry. I don't know if you've ever heard of ghost ancestors, but basically every 6 to 10 generations going backwards, you carry very little, if any, genetic content from those ancestors. Um, because with the progression of a people group, let's sort of minimalize it to more or less a tribe, right? But with the progression of a tribe, if they begin to mingle outside of their own community, especially there's going to be more and more and more and more and more diluted content in their DNA, and you're actually not going to be genetically related to your sixth, eighth, 10th, 15th ancestor going backwards. I mean, it's kind of simple math too, because every parent gives off 50% of their genetics to their offspring, their singular offspring. And so if you go backwards, you go with 100% of you to 50% of both parents to 25% of the next group of parents. And like you see, it just keeps dwindling down unless there's some type of intervention where certain genetic makeups are maintained by means of a close-knit tribal community or something of that sort. And even then, you ultimately are creating more and more new tribal communities or clans or clades, depending upon how big they are and their how they function together civilly. You're getting more of those with the passing of time. Technically speaking, even if they all agree, yeah, we're Yoruba. You see what I'm saying? Or whatever the native tribe, native community might identify it. We're Cherokee. Oh, we're which whatever talk, whatever. You feel me? So that's like scientifically, I see problems there. Um, and I also see those problems persisting, especially where we lack certain bits of data that will be very influential for that understanding and these connections to be made. And then, like, another thing is, okay, when you talk about Mississippi, are you talking about Georgia? Because before
Yeah,
the
that's
Louisiana
included.
purchase,
I'm finna try and find you a map. My laptop is on now.
okay, yeah, because the Louisiana purchase also made the state of Georgia become truncated to what it is now. Georgia used to
Hmm.
extend all the way over to Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm familiar with what you're talking about for sure.
So, I mean, like, yeah, we know of plenty of different native communities from Florida, Georgia, all over the East Coast, Midwest, Southeast, and the West Coast, you know. And then, like, it's certain, because of colonialization and exploitation of the land for capitalistic ideologies, that's really where it's going to get complicated, because we know the white people made laws. They kick people out. You get the Trail of Tears. You kicking people westbound. and a lot of them people died just trying to get to territory that they thought they were going to be able to maintain and keep. Whole time they got to go and try to figure out how to maintain, live in a different environment, different cultural setting, in light of all the hard pressed issues they faced in those movements, this migrational pattern. So I mean, yeah, these are actually some interesting things. Sometimes they keep me up at night. And you got me wanting to
Man, that
call
shit
my
kept
uncle.
me up several nights. I for sure kept me up several nights because I think I told you before, bro. I was, become before coming into the truth, man. Pretty much, it just to put it in a nutshell. A few people, know my story, and abundance of you don't. I seen some shit probably back in like 2015, some shit like that. Yeah, probably about 10, 11 years ago now. And that shit changed my life, like my whole outlook on everything. Like, nigga, I was damn near reborn again in that moment when I seen what I seen, to the point to where I started like researching stuff that I never researched before. And I'm freestyling like in my mind, like, okay, if what I just seen is accurate, I should be able to like research this shit and really see something. And when I was researching this specific topic, it led me to research other topics that I was thinking of in my head that I'm like, nah, I'm tripping. I'm just in my head. And it was certain shit that it was like, wait, hold on, this is really a thing? Like I had never heard of, just to give you an example, I never had heard of what a reptilian or a lizard person was. Like that was never a thing to me. But it was a point in time where I had uh certain speculations. I'm like, bro, let me just look into it. And then I started to look into it. I'm like, damn, this some real shit. Like this is like people have really been studying this shit, and it's people that this has ran their life. Like, wow, rabbit hole. Like niggas staying up plenty nights then. So it led me to say, okay, let's see how many different things this deity or being would have been called, and how far back I can go find it. And the shit, of course, you know me, I went and found it all the way back in the Bible. And I feel like that's one of the oldest documents that humanity has, whether somebody wants to say it's a literal or figurative record. I believe it was telling you something was here that is quite like you, but it's not you. And these things are, or I won't even say that society gives us what these things are. I would more so say that the fact that we know that something else is out there that's intelligent and conscious, but it's not us, gives us the possibility to open our mind to understand more. And that's pretty much the path that it led me on. So once it opened my mind up to understand more, of course, and when you go into looking up ancient knowledge, you're always gonna land in Egypt at some point in time. So nigga, after a while, a year or two of studying, you couldn't tell me I wasn't an Egyptian. Like you just couldn't tell me that shit. Once I'm seeing motherfuckers that look like me on the wall because they brown, and I'm like, damn, bro, that motherfucker got eyes just like my auntie, bro. We gotta be Egyptian. Like just little fringe ass shit like that and accepting it. But it takes you down certain rabbit holes, and it's almost like a stepping stone. Like I needed to think I was an Egyptian. Like in my mind, that makes sense to me because it was a stepping stone for me to learn something else and say, okay, yeah, nah, that's a little fringe. That's a little pseudo for sure. That's even like with where I am now with accepting my faith as a Hebrew Israelite. I'm not a person that uh can tell you that my understanding is infallible. All I can tell you is that my faith is unwavered because of the understanding that I have. But to try and make a declaration like, oh no, I'm positive I come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob because my bloodline such and such, and I'm fitting this curse, and to make a declaration like that, that's wild. And at one point in time, I was willing to do that. So it's like I said most of that to say I've been going down rabbit holes and staying up many nights for a long time. So when I say certain shit and I'm ridiculed for it, it's like, man, just sit on it for a second. I'm trying to come backstage from another page now. You don't have to put the page up, Shekmet, but I'm finna screen share and you could put the screen share on the front screen.
So I
What's
I
up?
understand what you're saying. I got a question, but before I ask that question, Jay Snake, that's part of the reason why I said um ghost ancestors. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
merely just the lack of common genetics being passed down from intermingling outside of your own tribe. Yes, I get by means of evolution, you got genetic shift that can change the collaboration of said offspring, as it relates to their genetic ancestry. Maybe not direct, but like locally, yeah, like not locally, but non-locally, as it relates to maintaining your genetic makeup of your ancestors. So I agree with what Jay's saying, Jay Snake saying. It is, he says, comfortable. I think he meant comparable to a deck of cards. Yes, due to genetic shift and also ghost ancestry, you do get that. That's why you get um, certain genetic features that come out like in light of less dominant traits being dominant in one's offspring. So like blacks, we can have albino kids, whites can have albino kids. Everybody can have an albino kid because a recessive or less dominant trait is switched on and becomes the dominant trait in light of that union. So I'm not denying that. And it is sort of complicated, but locally, it's not as complicated. Locally, that's why we can do blood tests to see, 99.96% you are the daddy. Some mouth swab, blood, we can hair follicles, skin, they can do all of that because they're doing a local assessment of genetic similitude. They're not doing a non-local, which is more or less what's going on when you send your DNA in to get assessed, and then they keep a portion of your DNA in order to keep it in they database and all of that good stuff. Because like I said, I got white people in my family, I got blacks in my family. All of this is coming out of Mississippi. I might be kin to either. I'm not even going to say it right now, but because I know I'm probably going to mess it up, but I might be kin to one or two of the founding fathers. I just don't know which ones off top of this country. So like that brings up other nuances, and what part about that connection, or do I suppress that connection just because it is part of whatever got me here? I mean, I don't know. It might not be the dominant outward expression that I look in the mirror and see, but it's still part of me. If I'm kin to one of these or two of these founding fathers, you feel me? So, and like outside of going back that far, I know with the judge that reigned over the killing of Mega Evers, he might have been the lawyer. Nonetheless, somebody Barnett, that's a family of mine. He was a white man. But that's somebody I'm kin to. He was a white man from Terry, Mississippi, former Slave owner family who gave property rights and allowed the freedom of the slaves and all of this type of stuff during the emancipation periods. So we share a common last name. There's other attitudes, especially amongst the more fair complexion women and men in my family, that more or less, because of cultural paradigms, they act according to that paler side of my family, and they act uppity in some senses, and in some ways compared to like the non pale family connections I got. So I mean, again, it's something I do think about. I'm glad you gave me some homework tonight though, man, because I'm definitely hitting up my family historian. I ain't talked to him in a minute. I'm hitting up my family historian. I'm gonna ask him about all these connections. And I know for a fact he's also one that has told me that we were Israelites.
And you
um,
know what? Matter of fact, Court, I be forgetting that you ain't too far from me. Whenever I go check out whenever I go check out the Mississippian mound that's here, uh, I'm gonna tap in with you about that so we can just go pull up together and see
there's
that
a
motherfucker.
Mississippian mound in Georgia.
It's a couple.
Might one of them be named, I don't know, Stone Mountain?
I don't think Stone Mountain was one of them, but that's definitely coincidental.
I got you. I was playing with Stone Mountain because you know who they carved on the side of that thing. But yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, all right, that's for sure. Just let me know, fool. I'll be ready. Just let me know.
Yeah, bro, my computer been loading forever. I found the map that I've been trying to show y'all, and as soon as I try to share it on StreamYard load in, this shit is just buffering.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think the tallest one is Etowah, and it's in Cartersville.
Really, in Cartersville.
And I believe that is the one that's crazy. When I gave y'all the freestyle of the timeline of the Mississippians, I was dead on. And I'm terrible with timelines and shit. But that's like the widest range that they try and grasp of keeping up with the culture. And it's like shit, why is that known? Like why is it known how long of a timeline you're giving these people here? And it's before Columbus founded the Americas, but these people are never talked about. That's what put me on this rabbit hole. Like, why don't this shit get talked about? Because in high school, I ain't gonna lie, I was the nigga international baccalaureate, open doors, APAC classes, all that shit. But you couldn't have told me that it was niggas in America before Columbus. I was that indoctrinated because shit like this ain't known to the masses. It was a people in America that's documented. This part ain't pseudo. The only thing that's pseudo is who they are and where they're from. But the fact that they were here thriving in some civilization, building shelter as well as mounds, pyramids, digging wells, all this shit. Why this shit don't get talked about?
I mean, it's similar to what just recently happened in the last 5 or 10 years when it comes to just public schooling and education and what the government said could be in a book, like these Tim McGraw Hill books, the standardized textbooks for most kids throughout the nation. And it's funny, like I don't know if y'all know, but like in currently one major difference between like kids right now and at least how we was raised and when we was in grade school, elementary, junior high, high school. We had school books that talked about slavery and things of that nature. Nowadays, that S word, they sort of like censored it out of many of the school books. So, I mean, it's kind of like,
You talking about the S word that was supposed to represent us?
no, 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 the S word is slavery. They've taken slavery out of many of the school books as of, I want to
That's
say
the word I
right
was talking
before.
about for sure,
Oh,
Corey.
okay. Well, yeah, yeah,
But
then.
yeah, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, like that was going on around the time of Bush second term, the second Bush, George W. Uh, because yeah, I remember very vividly that it was a major push, and in America, for example, like a lot of people don't know this, most of these school textbooks, publishing houses, and states, like the largest state that order more textbooks than any other state, if I'm not mistaken, is the state of Texas. And most of the nation follows the state of Texas when it comes to early childhood education as it relates to literature. So that's why it was sort of a big deal because you had New Yorkers like, no, we don't got no problem with slavery, but people down here in Georgia, you know, I know so I got white friends that say like, oh, well, I didn't do anything to your people. Yeah, you might not have, but like this is not really a syndrome. It's just reality. And I'm not asking you to take blame for the actions of your ancestors. I'm just asking them to pay attention to the wrong moves your ancestors made, you know, regardless of integration. You feel me? Like they did things that were inhumane as it relates to black people or people of color. We should acknowledge this instead of trying to soften up the language for the children. I think.
I get it, and I could actually agree with that for sure because, like I say, it's so language and literature is so important that that's one of the lines or one of the walls that can keep someone from identifying themselves. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Language is essential for culture. And culture,
Just the literature period though, like outside of the language, like script as well. Because like we were saying, it's if it's a certain civilization of people that wasn't doing shit like cutting down trees to kill a tree and make some paper, so they wasn't writing a bunch of shit. Now it's not a lot of shit to try and keep up with these people by and try and understand exactly what they may have been calling themselves as well as calling other people, etc. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, wait, hold on, you mean to tell me you got thousands of people in North America who don't know who they are for real, that's just grabbing onto shit that could possibly be able to grab onto something that's way more valid and tangible that's only a few centuries old, and the only thing that's keeping us from being able to identify as that possibly is a lack of literature. That's how powerful that shit is.
yeah,
And that's one
definitely.
of the reasons I believe that it became as powerful as it is, because I can't see a creator of earth making trees for paper for niggas to write shit down. You know what I'm saying? Especially with a lot of ancient civilization doing things like writing in the ground, carving in the walls, carving into stone, etc. Even carving into trees. But cutting that bitch down to make a book is insane.
I don't know. I think it's just a stage of development as it relates to writing mediums or whatever's used for putting literature on or in or what have you. Like, for example, uh, ancient Egypt didn't really have a lot of trees for real, but
Hmm.
they had a gang of papyri. They had a gang of papyrus. So they had a booming papyrus culture where they would dry out the leaves, smash them, and then write on one side and then roll it up as a scroll. So now at least you got material with literature on it that could survive your own existence, live longer than you know.
Hmm.
So, and the same thing with stones. But part of the problem with with how these things were done, we sort of don't have a very exhaustive understanding, or I would say not a sufficient enough understanding of the ancients' understanding regarding these writing mediums, or even just the skill of writing, even if it's shorthand. Like we just don't have the type of evidence we wish we had. So like that's part of the reason why you get so many people saying, "Oh well, biblically speaking, show us a Bible during the time of Moses. Show us one scrap." Like okay, but why would you even be expecting that type of material to survive this long from the original time it was written? I don't, especially if, as the biblical narrative suggests, they go from Egypt, a place that has the correct climate for the preservation of papyri or literature on stems, tree pieces, things like that. We go from Egypt into the Levant, where it's a lot rainier. It's a lot more seasonal uh, situations that could destroy the long term preservation of said literature. And like it's complicated. I'm still optimistic to some degree that we do find like that missing link, for example, between the Proto-Sinaitic and the Hebrew script directly in Israel. I mean, but nothing has really come up yet. Not saying there's no more stuff to be found. It's just going to be that much harder, uh, and it's going to take that much longer. And even when we go to these museums and we see all these monuments from wherever, Egypt, Babylon, wherever, we got to realize these sites might be continuously dug for 70, 80, 90 years straight, and we don't get no literature, and they're still being dug. They're still digging. Like for example, there's only a handful, like three pieces of literature from one of the oldest cities in the world, Jericho. You get scarabs, which really don't have handwriting on them, but they have designs and names of a pharaoh on them. You get scarabs, you get um, no papyri, but we do have a clay tablet, cuneiform tablet, and another inscription that was just recently found a couple of years ago, like last year, I think. So, that's one of the oldest cities in the world, with a lot of evidence for consistent occupation from the Neolithic wet period, basically until today. So it's it's complicated, and again, I really wish whoever the people are or were that were natives to America before the European colonists came, I wish they articulated and preserved how did they get here or if they had a story of like, I just wish to know their narrative to see like, oh, are they claiming like spontaneous generation on these continents? God is similar to like Adam and Eve in the Bible, or are they people that claim to have initially been in Africa or Asia, and then they settled over here. They traveled. They survived the long water trips or the crazy weather to go through Alaska to get here. Like, or do these people think that they just been here ever since Pangea broke apart? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's complicated, and I'm not suggesting humans were around when Pangea was here. I'd have to do a little more research to see if there's any inkling of that idea. I don't think there was, but yeah, it's a lot. And by the way, that some of this do remind me, you might be able to find some good material at Clayton State University because they have a really big library with a lot of this type of information. I would say Clayton State and in the state of Mississippi right now, Ole Miss, they got a lot of information related to this stuff. Um, Alabama, University of Alabama do too. I know that for a fact, only from a couple of researches. Like I had research papers I had to do for class. Um, yeah, and of course, the culture of the community today is not the same as the intellectual paradigm of the past. So, like, just the way certain things will get talked about, educated or uneducated people, it's going to be talked about differently. Um, but yeah, I wish we had more easier access to some of this type of material. And again, you gave me some good homework because I promise you, in the morning I'm hitting Unc up, I'm hitting Uncle Charles up, and be like, yo, Unc, break it down for me. Who are our people before Columbus? From your knowledge, and he gonna break it all down to me. So I'll at least be able to have some functioning understanding for the future after I have this conversation again with him. Like he done said it plenty of times at the couple of family reunions I went to, but I was a shorty. I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was trying to hurry up and get back to the dance floor. Chris Cross to make y'all jump, jump. You feel me? But yeah, were you able to get your computer working?
I just unmuted right now to tell you I did.
Okay.
I'm trying to share the screen now. You got good time, boy. The Lord love you.
Shaq, you still up?
I'm back. I'm
Okay.
back.
Didn't know didn't know if our sponsor
I
had
was
took you
deep.
out. Didn't know if our sponsor
Oh
had took you
man, it
out
was
tonight.
trying to. It was trying to. I ain't got count. I ain't
Hey, I got a screen back there,
got
shit. Yeah. So yeah, that's just like it's a dozen of these that you could find. Like this is just an example, and it says approximate areas. So you know, you do the math and see how much that bitch is covering, and notice how 90% of where we can say our great grandpeople come from is covered.
I'm a little mad that I don't know where that would be. That's probably like it's not quite Chattanooga. It's basically on the in the middle, right before this little red area meets the brown,
Hmm.
I see. I thought it said Sitco. I was about to say, so that's where some of these names of businesses came from. And on the far left, uh, it looked
It
like I
say
see
Shiloh.
Chevrolet.
It say Shiloh. That's crazy, ain't it?
No, CITI Sitica. I thought it said Sitco.
Oh wait, hold on. Where you at? Oh, okay, I see where you at. I see where you at.
Yep, underneath Port Ancient.
Mm-hmm. I see exactly where you
So you saying where these little locks are, those are the mounds?
at. Let me see if it's a key.
Whatever you just did, it definitely did something.
And it ain't necessarily. Oh, I don't know. Possibly.
It ain't got no key, no map key anywhere. I see the directions, but
Yeah, no, I don't see no map key.
okay, what is this? Herb Row, a map showing various Mississippian cultures, including. hmm Yep. So Choc Choco Chokia, I,
Cahokia.
Cahokia. I think I'm kin to them people,
Mm-hmm.
and others. But see, that's another thing though. If these are distinct tribes or distinct clans, would they actually agree to be part of the same community? Like once you get them in the same room, or would it be almost like they ops? Oh, y'all killed that bear last week. We don't like y'all because y'all got more clothing than we do this month. Y'all
So,
got the bear out the bear trap, and that was our bear trap type stuff, causing all types of beefs. And I mean, whole time I just thought about it. We really, I don't. At least I've never read major wars between the natives. I know
that's
that.
what I was. That's what I was just gonna say. From my research that I've done on the Mississippians, it's no evidence of them people having wars, but there's evidence of quote unquote their civilization starting to fall. That's what they say, and that's like I don't. I've done research on this shit for years now, bro, and I don't see the answer to why. You see what I'm saying? All I can do is say, y'all timeline is saying the 1600s is when y'all stop tracking these motherfuckers. You see what I'm saying?
Yep, I can dig it.
What happened to them? Y'all killed them off? No.
Well, I mean, they weren't killed off. All of them weren't. Some of them were. You got, and then you got some of them that
Yeah,
ended up
some of us
becoming
die every
slaves.
day. Some of us die every day at a way higher rate than we did back then. But you see what I'm saying? Like that's not eliminating these people. That's not eliminating these thousands, possibly millions of people. It's just not.
Yeah, I don't,
And
uh,
and a lot of these people or the people that was quote unquote enslaved, and then you go, watch. I'm trying to watch my words, but you just go look at certain history versus what was supposed to be portrayed, and then you realize certain things were only going on in certain areas. So if certain things were going on in certain areas, they put an emphasis on these areas for a reason. But what about all the areas where people wasn't getting whipped and hung? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why they don't get mentioned? Just because you got family members that was a part of that. don't mean that you didn't have family members that wasn't a part of that. So it's certain histories, like I say, you look back into it and it's like, okay, hold up, these people was, as far as the identification, and everybody doesn't care about that. But if you do want something tangible to be able to grasp and look into a little bit deeper, these people were having a lot of practices that clearly had them thriving up until a point of time of the history you get of colonizers, just so coincidentally. You got documented history telling you that these people's civilization began to fall around the same time that this country was colonized. And one of my theories is that if it was a line from West Africa to the Americas, it didn't necessarily have to be no accident. Or if it was an accident, by the time you stumbled upon it, that route was a thing. So how come these people couldn't have migrated from, it don't even gotta necessarily be West Africa, because North Africa in a whole was, a trade route. It's not no cutoff from the whole coast of North Africa between West Africa and North Africa. It was specifically who was over certain sea travels, which is why it was going out of West Africa. So if the slave trade is going out of West Africa, who's to say in the northeast coast it wasn't niggas that was roaming that same route, going a couple more thousand miles freely? You see what I'm saying? Not going over captive.
I got you. So, since you know more about this than I do, from your research, have any of these ancient Mississippian cultures claimed to have been originated out of either Africa, the Levant, Asia?
So these
Do we
countries,
have any evidence of that being their historical origins or
when
lineage?
would these countries have gotten these names for these people to have been making those claims? You see what I'm saying?
Uh, so I do, but that's going to make me beg the question. I feel like that's a dodge, my boy. I'm not saying you're doing it intentionally or nothing, or with any wrong intent. I'm just saying I don't think that question does anything to what was asked. See, because
Okay,
yeah,
ask the question again.
from your personal research, since you know about this more and better than I do, have you found any of these tribal Mississippian cultures claiming either African heritage or non-American heritage, ancestry? Like, have you found any of
No, no,
these?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
But um, I guess my understanding would be that just like any other group of people, because in ancient times, before you know certain masses started categorizing things and saying this is the standard and this is what it is, I believe people groups were being called different things by different people. So if you start to call me something and I wasn't calling myself that, 10 generations later, my people would be calling me whatever you're starting to call me. They wouldn't be calling me Emmanuel if I'm calling my whole lineage Emmanuel. We all Emmanuel. And then an orange person come up and say, hey, them brown people, we're not calling them Emmanuel. We calling them chocolates. So now my people are calling themselves chocolates. You see what I'm saying? Or this, to give you the different aspects of it. If I'm known as something and I'm fleeing captive, I would need to be known as something else if I'm trying to hide. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Because that's almost like if the Jews was being sought after to be killed, clearly, and I'm talking about ancient times, pre-Holocaust, you know, just to get an understanding for the audience as well. I'm speaking hypothetically. If they were all being sought out after to be killed and they wanted to flee to another land, they wouldn't be calling themselves the same thing when they flee to the new land. They would be calling themselves something different.
I can dig that. Look, I ain't gonna hold you up, my boy. I really did appreciate this conversation. If y'all on this platform watching right now, y'all need to do three things. Four things actually. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And on that note, my boy, I know you still got the platform, the show and everything. I'm gonna say peace to y'all because I'm getting tired. My pain pill's starting to kick in. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
all
holler at
love,
you
bro.
though, Manuel, and I appreciate you, Shaq. Shouts out to Shaq. Bow in the building, Barbaddies in the building. Uh, and shouts out to A1, the greatest Facebook, YouTube channel host alive. I'm gonna holler at y'all. Peace.
Peace, brother. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up soon too, y'all. Like I say, man, if I don't tell y'all to do nothing else, same thing. Like I say, like, share, comment, subscribe right now. Do all them. And man, do some research. Stop just listening. Do some research. Even if you think you tripping when you come up with a thought, research it. Look it up. Because it might have a lot of validity. And it might have some ancient validity outside of what people consider mainstream. And if they want to call it something else, then it's cool. But it's a lot of true shit out here that you can prove that people ain't telling you about and what you do with it. And anybody know me know that's one of my favorite questions, bro. What we do with it. See if I can get us a see if I can get us an commercial going to get us out of here, man. You got the commercial check?
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Peace, peace, peace. Emmanuel, you still up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm here. I'm here. We about to wrap it up, man. I'm about to Get
Yeah,
us
we
a
gotta go
commercial
ahead
going.
and wrap it up. Thank you for stopping by, shooting the breeze. Peace to everybody that was tapped in. We are out.
Peace.